Next on Action News, is this the result of Saddam's last stand?
And South Florida football grieves. The mother of the Dolphins is dead.
Also, are some South Florida nursing homes shelters for neglect?
Next.
By phantom, by phone. Call now for tickets. Why do so many Italian food lovers shop at Publix? For values like Progresso Minestrone soup, just 53 cents for the 10.5-ounce can. And boneless, skinless chicken breast, only $2.75 a pound. As well as fresh broccoli, just 68 cents for the large bunch. And because with Publix, anyone can cook Italian.
Now that's Italian.
We're earning our reputation one story at a time. Now, John Hambrick and Giselle Fernandez, Channel 6 Action News.
A Baghdad radio report says Saddam Hussein has ordered his forces out of Kuwait. But word from the White House, the war goes on.
We have the initiative.
Since neither President Bush nor the United Nations has gotten any official notice. Good evening, I'm John Hambrick.
And I'm Giselle Fernandez. At 10:30 tonight, White House spokesman Marlon Fitzwater elaborated on the president's response to Saddam's reported withdrawal order.
We continue to prosecute the war. We have heard no reason to change that. And because there is a war on, our first concern must be the safety and security of the United States and coalition forces.
Furthermore, a senior Pentagon person speaking anonymously insisted they just want us to stop, noting the withdrawal report came just after Iraq fired a Scud into Dhahran, Saudi Arabia, killing at least a dozen U.S. service members. Meanwhile, U.S. ground forces driving deep into Kuwait and even southern Iraq continue to meet only light to moderate resistance. So far, they've captured at least 270 Iraqi tanks during 2 days of the ground war, and more than 20,000 Iraqi soldiers have surrendered. Some of the clashes today were with a few of Iraq's so-called elite Republican Guard. Indications are, though, they did not fare any better than the regular Iraqi soldiers, this so far.
With the 2nd Marine Division reportedly now working inside the suburbs of Kuwait City and allied Arab troops pushing close to that city as well, the unfolding strategy seems aimed at pinning down the Iraqis there, while powerful allied armor loops around Kuwait's western border to confront Republican Guard units dug in along the frontier with Iraq. Allied commanders still caution against undue euphoria, but nevertheless say the enemy is being beaten. Behind a raft of howitzers, it's U.S. and French forces moving rapidly across that western front in southern Iraq, cutting off enemy supplies and reinforcements.
I'm very surprised. Right now, I thought that they would put up more of a fight.
After modest resistance, Iraqi soldiers here surrendered, as have thousands in southern Kuwait.
No war. No war.
My biddy war.
No war.
But these aren't the Republican Guard, not Saddam's best. Look at how meager these men were supplied. Iraqis killed in battle were buried by U.S. soldiers. Now, these are pictures of those Allied forces rolling toward Kuwait City from the south. Apparently, they've gotten the most Iraqi resistance so far. But with U.S. warplane support, they are pushing forward. Iraqi minefields are being swept by Kuwaitis in helicopters and Saudis on foot.
Additionally, numerous facilities throughout Kuwait City are being systematically destroyed. Reports of atrocities of the worst sort are continuing to come in through reports.
Iraqis have set fire to at least 500 Kuwaiti oil wells, half those in the country. In the Gulf off Kuwait, the battleships Missouri and Wisconsin. The British shot down an Iraqi Silkworm missile fired at the Missouri.
It's total. The whole thing's gone. Everybody in it is either wounded or dead.
This was the scene in Dhahran immediately after that Scud hit the U.S. military barracks there. At last word, at least 12 dead, 25 wounded, 40 missing. All Americans.
She knew right away that this was a direct Scud hit, just judging by the way that it shook the ground and by the enormously loud explosion.
Now, back to Saddam's reported order to pull out of Kuwait. It was delivered over Baghdad radio by an Iraqi government honcho, but not by Saddam himself. Supposedly, it's in line with one of the 2 Soviet peace plans presented, but rejected by the U.S. before the ground offensive began. Once again, Marlon Fitzwater.
We don't know whether this most recent claim about Iraqi withdrawal is genuine. We have no evidence to suggest the Iraqi army is withdrawing. In fact, Iraqi units are continuing to fight.
One thing he said is certain: if Iraqi troops are in retreat, we will not shoot them in the back.
Will Iraqi troops pull out of Kuwait, or is it just a ploy? Tonight, families of Desert Storm soldiers are for the most part very skeptical. Many of them gathered at Operation Homefront in Cutler Ridge tonight. That's where our action team coverage turns now. Reporter Dave Game is there ready now with a live report. Good evening, David.
Good evening, Giselle. It's news that family members here would love to believe, but unfortunately, nobody really does. And that skepticism is not limited to Operation Homefront. You can find it just about any place the flag waves. The stirring sounds of patriotic music drifted across downtown Miami tonight as people brought their flags to Bayfront Park to hear the Air Force Reserve Band. They also brought their opinions about reports that Iraq is trying to pull out of Kuwait.
I think it'd be wonderful, it'd be a miracle. I hope it's true.
But with the hope supported by the stirring music, there was also skepticism.
I don't trust him because he said so many dishonest things. I think it's just a ploy to gain time for his side. That's all I think it is.
That was the feeling shared at Dade's Operation Homefront tonight, reinforced by pictures on tonight's evening news of the Scud attack on a reservist housing area in Saudi Arabia. Parents hugged photos of the sons who face that danger every day and turned to friends to keep the worry under control. Nobody wants this war to end more than these people do, but nobody here dares believe that Saddam Hussein is giving up now.
You kind of want to hope, but then every time, my brother's been there since August 7th. It's been 6 months of hoping, and it gets to a point where you just don't have any hope left anymore. And just, when I see him home is when I know it'll be over.
Wanting to believe, but afraid to believe. That's the emotion we're finding here tonight in South Dade as people are watching what goes on television, glued to the sets, waiting for news of what Saddam Hussein does next. Back to you.
Thank you very much, David. Operation Homefront in Broward was open tonight as well. It's closed now, but will reopen tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. John?
Now, if you are trying to get some information about the war, let Channel 6 serve as your Gulf link. As we have been telling you, we have a toll-free hotline to help you get just about any war-related info that you might need. That number is 1-800-678-WCIX. The Gulf Link hotline is a service of Channel 6 and MCI.
And a sad note this evening. Tonight, South Florida is mourning the loss of Miami football's First Lady. After a long battle with breast cancer, Dorothy Shula, wife of Dolphins football coach Don Shula, died today. Last year, at the opening of her husband's restaurant, Dorothy Shula said her battle with breast cancer, which had consumed much of her body at that point, was going relatively well. She was spirited, and as she did often, expressed her wishes for another winning team to celebrate many victories at the new steakhouse. A lot of victory parties, I'm sure, will take place here.
God willing, God willing. We need a little of that magic back from that 17-0 season.
This night's proceeds of the gala opening were donated to the American Cancer Society. Shula spoke of the organization in reference to her own struggle.
After I first had cancer, they came to the house and demonstrated some things that would help me physically, and it worked, and I felt 100% better. Their literature is excellent for anybody who, whether they think they have cancer or know someone who does, and certainly should be supported by them, and let alone their knowledge of the correct hospitals, doctors, and some new procedures and methods of different chemotherapies and radiation. They're on top of it all.
So your family then is very committed to helping them in their efforts?
Well, yes, of course. Yes, glad to.
Known as the mother of the Dolphins team, the players tonight were saddened by her passing.
We knew she wasn't in good health, and you just feel for the Shula family and hope everything's going to be all right from here on out.
Very generous lady, and always a lady. She was so giving, and she's going to be missed, and certainly missed.
Shula is survived by Coach Shula and their children and grandchildren. Services will be held on Wednesday, February 27th, at Our Lady of the Lakes Catholic Church from 7 to 9 p.m. The funeral will be held Thursday at 11 in the morning. In lieu of flowers, the family has asked that all donations be made to the Don Shula Foundation, which will be used for breast cancer research. Dorothy Shula was 57 years old.
They lurk behind the glamorous world of high fashion modeling.
So you want to do nude modeling, Sue?
Scheming photographers who prey on innocent girls with dreams of fame.
He turned to me and said, well, what about you? Don't you want to pose nude?
I'm able to somehow miraculously sometimes get a girl out of their clothes.
Do you keep them for your own private pleasure or pass them around to your buddies?
We'll go undercover to expose the dark side of modeling next to Geraldo.
Tomorrow at 5 on Channel 6.
Unlike big juice companies, we have a different idea about corporate ladders, mergers, even stockholders' meetings.
Morning, Ed. Hi, Bob.
Fresh and natural brand, not from concentrate orange juice, is made by a co-op of Florida growers whose only business is making juices. They own the land, they own the trees, they own the company. It makes for a difference you can taste. Fresh and natural brand premium orange juice.
Dad used to get paid on Thursdays, and every Thursday night I'd sneak downstairs and watch the jar ceremony. So much for groceries, so much for rent. But the first jar they always put money into was the jar marked savings. Dad always said, take care of your money will take care of you. I never forgot that.
We've given over 1 million people a better way to save for the future. Glendale Federal Bank, the way a bank should work.
Please pass the all fruit.
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Pass the Polaner all fruit.
Would you please pass the jelly?
Polaner all fruit is real fruit, sweetened only with fruit juice and no added sugar. You'll call it delicious, you'll call it remarkable, but please don't dare call it jelly. Polaner all fruit, the spreadable fruit.
Family members usually put a loved one in a nursing home when they can no longer provide the needed level of care. But what if the place that is supposed to help that loved one is really a shelter of neglect? Tonight, Action News investigative reporter Susan Candiotti unravels an apparent cover-up surrounding the death of a South Florida nursing home patient. A word of warning, some of these pictures are graphic.
She was a very jolly, lovely lady.
The lady was Vera Frazier, 65 years old. Never married, but she was like a grandmother to the neighborhood kids. She died last summer, 2 weeks after suffering burns while smoking a cigarette at Miami's Ashley Manor nursing home. These medical examiner photographs are hard to look at, but they're graphic evidence of what happened to Vera Frazier. Our Channel 6 investigation has found that what happened to Vera Frazier after that accident was a series of bad decisions, delayed medical care, and an apparent attempt to hide the truth. Frazier was terminally ill with cancer, her body paralyzed by a stroke. But her family and friends say she still enjoyed life and still liked to smoke cigarettes.
I would never leave her with a cigarette. Never.
But Vera's friends and family weren't with her in the nursing home dining room the afternoon Vera burned herself. In fact, contrary to Ashley Manor's policy, no one was with her. According to documents obtained by Channel 6, here's what we know. Vera was sitting in her wheelchair in the dining room just before 1 in the afternoon when someone gave her a cigarette and left. Remember, Vera was paralyzed. The lit cigarette dropped from her mouth, setting her clothes on fire. Eventually, flames shot up one side of her body, burning away skin from one of her legs, thigh, and scorching her neck and face. Second and third degree burns over 10 to 15% of her frail body. When Gary Polson, the nurse in charge, saw Vera, he told investigators, quote, "I cut her clothing off. Her undergarments were still smoldering." But he added, "I did not think the burns were that bad when I saw her. Didn't know any burn to the face, hands, or genitals is more serious." Polson never called an ambulance. Instead, he told the woman with her back to our camera, nursing director Zenaida Francisco. At the time, she was in a meeting with state inspectors and never went to see for herself how serious Vera's burns were. Polson said he called a doctor 3 times with no response. The doctor testified he only received one message and it didn't sound urgent. Nurse Polson went home when his shift ended at 3:30. In fact, according to documents obtained by Channel 6, it wasn't until nearly 10 hours later before an ambulance arrived. And that wasn't until after a night supervisor from another wing happened to notice how bad Vera's burns were and urged the staff to call for help. Even then, it wasn't 911 that was called. Instead, nurses contacted a private ambulance company. In an apparent effort to cover their tracks, some nursing home employees lied about exactly what happened to Vera. The ambulance drivers, South Shore Hospital, medical examiners who wrote Vera's death certificate. Even Vera's family and friends were told she was smoking in bed, not the real story. Ruby, what would you say if I told you that Vera was not smoking in bed, that she was actually in a dining room when this happened? And what if I told you that the nursing home apparently waited several hours before they took her to the hospital?
Why would they wait 10 hours? Why would they tell me she was in bed? Maybe they had something to hide. Maybe they had to cover up their tracks.
We went to Ashley Manor ourselves and asked Director Romeo Montes for an explanation. She apparently was unsupervised at the time. Can you explain that?
I don't have no comment on that at this time.
Can you explain why about 10 hours passed before she was taken to the hospital?
Okay. No comment at this time, okay? It's because of under further investigation.
We put her in there to be cared for, not to be killed.
Metro-Dade Homicide had closed the books on this case, but because of our questions, they're reopening their investigation. State Medicaid fraud investigators are digging into the case, and sources say the state attorney's office may consider criminal charges. Tomorrow, what questions you can ask, warning signs you should look for before you choose a nursing home.
Thank you very much, Susan.
If you would like a copy of the Better Business Bureau's tips on how to choose a nursing home, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Shelters of Neglect in care of WCIX, 8900 Northwest 18th Terrace, Miami 33172.
And still to come on Channel 6 Action News, Operation Desert Pride.
You will meet some folks on the front lines of the battle for support. And there's more.
Do you know that Homestead was the warmest spot in all of the nation today? I'll have our forecast and weather school take you out of this world. The average daily temperature on Venus is what? 250, 500, or 900 degrees Fahrenheit? I'll tell you next.
In Florida, there's always been one car that ruled the roadways. A car that made people sit up and take notice. It was true back then, it's true today. Because for 1991, Cadillac raises the standards once again. Cadillac, once and for always, king of the road.
By phantom, by phone. Call now for tickets.
In the war against termites, nobody packs more power than the exterminator, the Orkin Man. And now his termite control arsenal includes the exclusive Orkin Flow Meter for the most precise treatment available. Other methods may give too much or too little protection, but Orkin's precision treatment stops termites cold, guaranteed. The Orkin Man. One call destroys them all.
We got your sunshine. We got your rain.
We got
your
everything.
sunshine and rain and what else?
We got it all, baby.
Yes,
we
we
got
do.
it all. It was nice. Nice and warm. That was about it.
Just a little drizzle here and there.
Yeah, a little bit. And there are some heavy pockets here and there also with a couple good downpours coming down right now, and that's going to continue on throughout tomorrow too. As a matter of fact, we have a very weak cold front passing by, so when all of this is over with, we will have cooler temperatures also. As I said, 87 degrees today in Homestead. Can you believe it? It was the warmest spot in the nation. Hollywood today too. They tied their record high, 84 degrees. Take a look right now at West Dade. Traffic moving along fine. As I said, you may run into a shower here and there. You may be dry. You may run into a good thunderstorm right now. 74 degrees. The beach is 76. Key West 74. Surf temps up 75 degrees. Winds now out of the west at 7. They'll be shifting to the northwest. Why? Well, cold front going through. Right now they're 7 miles an hour and pressure is on the rise. Start off taking a look at the state of Florida. Look at all the cloud cover where you see the whitest, the brightest clouds. That's where the precipitation is the heaviest at the moment. Yeah, take a look. We'll go to radar right now and see exactly where all the rain is. And there are pockets. This was over Palm Beach County. As I said, it's now moved off to the Atlantic, although it's carrying quite a bit in the way of heavy rain. We do have some pockets here or there, some good downpours, so be aware if you are out driving tonight or if you're going to be heading out in the next couple minutes, you could run into a little bit of a problem. But then, as I said, it will quickly pass because all that rain is moving to the east at about 12 miles an hour. Taking an overall view of the U.S., where's it coming from? This baby right here. This is a cold front which is moving through the area right now. It should pass by Miami by tomorrow evening. As a matter of fact, by tomorrow night, the stars will be out again. It'll be nice and clear, but until then, we're going to have to go through this moisture and precipitation and cloud cover. Tomorrow, just kind of a yicky day, not a downpour, but it's not going to be bright, not by any stretch of the imagination. Behind this cold front, high pressure. That's going to take over. It's going to bring down some cooler temperatures. We'll look for highs in the mid to upper 70s as soon as this passes, but lots of sunshine coming back on Wednesday. Here's my forecast for tonight. Cloudy, scattered showers, 64 to 69. Could even hear a thunderstorm. Tomorrow, variable clouds, scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm, 77 to 81. Now, if you're boating tomorrow, winds out of the northwest, 5 to 10 knots. You'll be wet. Seas 2 feet, smooth on the bay. Low tide 11:50, sun setting at 6:21. Next 5 days, Wednesday looks okay. The sunshine returns. Temperatures a little bit cooler. As I said, this front is weak, so it's not carrying a lot in the way of cold air. Temperature ranging at about the upper 70s. Time now for the answer to the weather school question of the evening. What do you think? What do you think it is on Venus? It is downright hot, 900 degrees Fahrenheit. I think we have it bad here in South Florida, huh? 900. So we will be clearing out shortly. We don't have to put up the rain too much longer.
Okay. Learn something there, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm going to put that to great use.
Thank you very much, Maria. All right, you might be one of those Eastern Airline customers left holding a ticket when the carrier went belly up, and you also might have found that your refund check for that ticket has bounced. Well, Eastern admits there has been a problem. It blames confusion at Miami's Southeast Bank, where the $40 million refund account has been held. The bank says it did make a mistake and reject some checks. Southeast promises to pay any fees incurred by the bounced checks. Just contact the bank if you, in fact, had a problem.
I think most people would probably do that anyway,
I think so, too.
The pitch is in. Will South Florida score a baseball team?
Steve Shapiro here with that answer.
I have every confidence that we will have baseball in South Florida.
Great.
All right.
The last chance to impress the National League was today. The expansion committee visits Joe Robbie Stadium. Reaction from committee members and prospective owner Wayne Huizenga. It's important you stick around for this.
For the true believer, it is the ultimate love. It renews hope, even as life grows ever more hopeless. It gives joy to the joyless. It gives power to those who give themselves to it. And it offers peace where otherwise there is none. If cocaine gives the addict all this, what can you give him that he doesn't already have? Charter Hospital of Miami, the end of the line for cocaine addiction.
The traction control system of the Lexus LS400 helps reduce tire spin across rain, sleet, snow, even an occasional patch of ice.
For all the places and all the faces that are a part of you, AT&T brings you the Reach Out America plan. With more ways to save than anyone else. No matter who or when or where you call. So long distance feels like no distance. For savings and quality across every mile, will help you find the plan that works for you. AT&T, all you need to reach out.
Our is Huizenga.
Some small... Yeah, right.
You spell it.
Yeah. Some very small objections to Wayne Huizenga and Joe Robbie Stadium, but more in the form of suggestions of improvements. All in all, National League Expansion Committee favorably impressed with Joe Robbie Stadium as a baseball park. The league, of course, will add 2 new teams, South Florida, one of the 6 finalists, and the first to be visited this morning by the committee. The expansion committee escorted into the near baseball-ready Joe Robbie Stadium by prospective owner Wayne Huizenga and local politicos. The media kept at a distance in an enclosed box. The committee, led by National League President Bill White, stayed on the field only 15 minutes. The members liked what they saw.
I think it's a nice stadium. I think it was designed, obviously, at some point in time with baseball in mind.
Although Philadelphia Phillies owner Bill Giles got right into the Joe Robbie baseball spirit, the committee suggested mobile box seats be put close to the base paths, and they were concerned fans in the upper left field bleachers could not see a ball hit deep against the fence. But Huizenga remains highly optimistic.
I think we had a good meeting today, you know, I'm enthused. I didn't see anything that went wrong.
And perhaps most interesting, the committee does not object to putting both new teams in the state of Florida.
The National League would hope to pick the best two sites, no matter where they are.
During the tour of the field by the expansion committee, the scoreboards here were set to show the South Florida team losing to Chicago in the 9th inning. But that was done for effect. It applies to a videotape the ownership group showed to the expansion committee after the tour.
This ball is gone. South Florida wins it. The South Florida team wins it by a score of 7-5.
With 2 outs in the 9th inning, the expansion committee left Miami at 2 o'clock, flew immediately to Orlando. Orlando does not yet have a place to play, so the committee looked at a minor league park and later the Kansas City spring training site. The team would play there until a new stadium can be built, but is the lack of a facility a problem for the Orlando expansion bid?
I really don't think so, because you can transitionally play in a smaller stadium. We're more interested in the long term than we are immediate consideration.
Still 4 areas to visit. Tomorrow they'll be in Tampa, St. Pete. Next month, or as late as the 1st of April, the committee goes to Buffalo, Washington, D.C., and Denver. The 2 winners could be chosen as early as June. The new teams begin to play 1993. Dwight Stewart tonight sets the single-season scoring record for FIU, 499 points. FIU beats Central Florida. And UM beat South Florida. The last time they played, UM lost by 8. At the arena, this kid trying to light a fire under the Canes. UM playing in white, blocked by Logan, saved by Ward. To Burt. Tonight, Charcoal's Restaurant, Miami Lakes. Our own Russell Greasy Shimoka tries to defend the rib-eating title against Grant Lawn, James Pruitt of the Dolphins. The winner was Roy Foster of the Finns. And is this a face only a mother could love on payday? Each rib, it was money donated for each rib eaten. That'll go to cerebral palsy. Good cause.
Oh, terrific. Now, how much did he eat? How many?
He ate 18 ribs. I ate 18 cents. I don't know.
You know, in those sports briefs, I thought sure we'd see a boxer or two, didn't we? Up next on Action News, our home front heroes.
Don't you wish, John? All 20,000 of them. Stay with us.
What does it cost to live like a king? Well, Home Sweet Home, 140 million. Weekend Castle, 30 million. Your Everyday Crown, 6 million. Chambermaids, at least 500,000. A Royal Feast, 79 cents.
King Ralph's Royal Deal at Burger King. Buy any size fries and a soft drink and get a bacon double cheeseburger for 79 cents.
Frankly, with expenses like these, that's about all one can afford.
King Ralph's Royal Deal at Burger King.
Eckerd pharmacist Patty Carr. She can make people feel better even without medicine.
Bye-bye, Patty.
You get to feeling better, Bob. We'll go dancing.
It takes a special kind of person to be an Eckerd pharmacist.
All these umpteen hundred different remedies, Audi, that let you take control.
Tonight's Homefront heroes are lifting our troops' morale by their sheer numbers. 20,000 people turned out in Jackson, Mississippi to show their love and support for the men and women in the Gulf. Organizers called the effort Operation Desert Pride. Some of the troops even got to hear the rally on the phone. And they say, few sounds are as sweet. Thank you for having us in for news. I'm John Hamer.
And I'm Giselle Fernandez. A special 1-hour edition of America Tonight is next. Good night.
When police couldn't find him, his mom decided she could. Next, Inside Edition. Tomorrow at 7:30 on Channel 6.